And with that, we should be live. Yes, greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I am joined by the Darkest Light and Vector Maximus, and we're discussing changes that have been made to the economy over the past year due to feedback over the various Tinto talks. Uh, as we can see, there is some lovely images of bees and bee assorted goods, which I, you know, I assume it's tied into the fact that
It's a Lord of the Rings game. These are the Bjornings with their bees.
this is just a
With their
picture of
giant
Baron's house.
bees.
Yes, I'd believe it. I'd believe it with how just look how idyllic the open field in front of his house is. Oh my goodness! But we did see an image of beeswax in one of the, it was like the Germany uh, feedback or something. I don't remember which.
Yes.
Okay. It was showing us a little bit of France, and we could see there's some beeswax, so they're experimenting, adding it here and there, presumably. Uh, but yes, goods rework is the first thing on the agenda to be discussing today. We've added 5 goods and removed 2 by merging them. Okay, so first, listen to your arguments and split spices into 3. All right, so they have committed to that change as of now. The splitting spices up, which I am very happy for, because while I don't know enough about how the game works to know the significance of that realistically, in theory, what this will mean is that Europeans will have a demand for spices from Asia still, as opposed to just wanting any old spice just as much.
Yep, it makes sense. The spice trade was a big, massive reason for Europeans to want to go east. So,
And yet there was a ton of spices in Southern Europe in the first feedback, the first images we'd been shown. And with it all being the same, why would you go elsewhere? So they have saffron for Europe and the Middle East. Europe and the Middle East. That's an interesting combination. Pepper for Asia and chili for the Americas. No spices for Africa? Aww. I'm sure there's gotta be
explained.
some spice somewhere in Africa. Come on.
I actually don't know if there's any particular native African spices. I can't really think of any. But then again, I don't think of saffron much either, and that's the European one. So,
Exactly. It's something that everyone knows it exists because of Ratatouille. We don't know what the hell it is. More than that, or maybe you do, but I don't. I just know it's a fancy spice, and I only know it exists thanks to that movie about the rat. So, yeah. They thought about making them generic names, which, oh god, that's the same vibes as uh, a Western Baltic culture. Uh, thank goodness they.
I'm disappointed because I want to see what they came up with.
The generic names they would have used would be something like Asian spice.
Yeah, Oriental spices.
They would not use Oriental as the term, though.
I think it works better than Asian spices or something like that.
Uh, I do not have enough. I would not give them enough credit. I would expect it to be stuff like East, South, West spices and shit. American spice. But anyway. Oh, dates were merged into fruits, and soybeans were merged into legumes. Well, yeah, I think dates actually were even worse than fruit. I think originally. They had set them up and they were just even less efficient food resource. But it's funny because I don't know enough about how demand works for different resources, so it raises the question of if they were gonna stay separate, does that mean that people would have a separate demand for dates as from fruit? At which point, yeah, that doesn't really make all that much sense. It's like European nobles discover dates, and they're just like, we need no. It'd be more like China discovers dates, and they're like, we need dates.
Have them. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know. There's some foods I know in Asia that are really exotic that I don't know. It's like watermelons show up in Japanese anime because they're super rare and expensive and a fancy
Hmm.
treat or something there. Meanwhile, I don't care for watermelons one bit, so I don't get why it's so special.
Yeah. It's like rhubarb. It's just around, dude. I don't know.
Rhubarb is actually super tasty if it's well done though. So that I could actually see. But I like sour stuff, and rhubarb gets sour. So
Mm. Yes, because they were so dates and soybeans were cut cluttering it up. That is so funny to imagine soybeans as its own resource. Uh, but yes, beeswax was added to
place will never recover.
beeswax was added to simulate everything from honey to candles, and this was heavily requested by the community as it's a common material around most of the world. Two new produced goods are pottery and furniture. That's so weird because I didn't even process the fact that pottery and furniture weren't in the game. They just seemed like things that would exist. I just
Yeah,
didn't.
because it seems so fundamental
Yeah,
to society.
and we have clay. We have clay, so it's just well, I just assume it's there. Oh, why wouldn't it be?
I imagine it was being kind of abstracted into building materials and stuff like that before
And
this.
just clay itself. Yeah. Same with furniture, probably just being wood, and think about that, which is really funny to now imagine that there's going to be a demand for furniture in like Iceland, and there's going to be like basically no production of it, so they're going to have to really expensively ship in the chairs or some shit. uh, yeah, pottery is produced mainly from clay. Mainly, they say mainly, but I guess there might be some other ways, which is strange. And is demanded by both pops and many buildings producing alcohol. I guess, yeah, you put it in a jar. Huh. Furniture requires lumber and is produced requires lumber to be produced and is primarily demanded by pops, while some admin buildings require small amounts of furniture regularly because they're always breaking. The fat ass desk workers are breaking the chairs. But one thing that I think the splitting up of spice I really appreciate from a modding standpoint is that it's going to make it more clear how to feedback typo. No, I messed up the thumbnail. No, the first comment.
My spelling mistake GIF.
Minor spelling mistake detected. Opinion rejected.
Can't believe you. How would you make a mistake like this?
Sorry, I was too busy thinking about dwarves.
Dwarf.
Yeah.
Wait, dwarves spell back differently?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yes, they do. They just dwarves are on my mind, so I spelt it like a dwarf would. But the fact that the splitting up of spice into three from a modding standpoint is going to be nice because it will, I think, better help illustrate to people trying to learn like how the game functions at its core, how pops demand stuff because theoretically the different spices will have very similar they'll have like the same use but with the difference being that they're demanded by pops at different points in time so that pops in Europe as they discover different kinds of spice will like begin to demand those different types of spice and that will be very curious for when trying to create new custom resources for a mod. Pottery, though, One of the oldest signs of human society, the ability to turn clay into various objects is one of the key factors in the development of humanity. From the crude earthenware vases of prehistoric times to the more complex forms, pottery is omnipresent in any culture. Goods tooltips show market-related information when applicable. Here, Riga has a 7.94 surplus of pottery, so it could be a nice export. So they make more, yeah, okay. They make plenty. That is a significant amount more than they need, presumably. And as a result, they can export it. Riga is also the market. Oh wait, this is the Riga market, not like the Riga, the country. Yeah. So, and this is showing the
So
stockpile
there's more pottery in the market than there is need for consumption.
because this is the consumption, presumably, and this is the production, and as a result, it's starting to fill up. I think. I don't know what this means. This plus here.
I think that might be storage. I'm not sure.
Oh, wait, no. This is how much is produced. This is, yeah. This is how much is produced. This is how much is used. This is the net.
Produced 4.44 is what is being consumed, and then yeah, the net.
Because you got the scales there too. Yeah. 7.94 surplus of pottery. So, and then this is the bar that slowly fills up as the stockpile increases. I wonder if anywhere is going to have stockpiles at game start, or if they're just going to all start at 0 and slowly fill up.
Depends on what if they want to put the legwork into it to investigate. Oh, there was a massive stockpile of pottery in the middle of nowhere in Bohemia, so add a bunch to the Prague trade node.
Prague had so much extra pottery. Unbelievable.
The biggest pots, the best pots. Nobody had pottery like the Czechs.
Some goods got increased base prices like lumber and salt, and many demands for goods have been changed from feedback, both external and internal. Salt, as an example, is now required for maintenance of auxiliary regiments. Good, I like that, yes. And for market buildings. So
yeah, you need salt to preserve food. So
for the auxiliary regiments, which are of course the baggage trains and such, it only makes sense. Productivity and specialization. Something that was suggested at many places was to improve specialization and make different locations more unique when it comes to the industry. Okay, and thus we've achieved. This has been achieved by 4 mechanical changes. Okay, I'm very curious then. First, we added a soft building cap, where every town can support 25 building levels, every city 100, and each development point in a location adds another building level. Okay, so you can get up to 200 at max, theoretically. Unless there's other things that adjust it. Each level above the cap increases building costs in that location by 10%. Oh, it is a soft cap, as they said, yes. Ooh, that's rough. This, besides making you want to diversify your cities, makes the decisions to go from guilds to manufactories to mills something you want to strive for. It has the added benefit of adding some minor diminishing returns for investments to the very rich, and adding another incentive to get cities where possible.
So essentially, this is an incentive to both increase the type of manufacturing you have, because I imagine one building that is a mill produces, the output of 20 workshops, for example. So
Yeah.
you have 20 slots being used up versus one slot being used up. And then, as mentioned, it also pushes you towards urbanization. Because if you use up all the building slots in one, then you have to build a new city in order to do another one to have it happen efficiently. So you can't just invest into one mega, manufacturing mega city that's supported by an entire empire's worth of raw resources. You have
Mm-hmm.
to actually have multiple different hubs of manufacturing develop.
And you might want to change that based on the markets of your realm. As you get a larger realm, you might.
And you might also want to specialize, have a city that's focused on glassworks, have a city that's focused on furniture, so on and so forth. A city that's focused more on the textile industry and clothes.
I'm trying
Because
to.
I imagine there will be to a degree. It won't be like Victoria levels, but I imagine there will be things where like having all the things in a single city in like a manufacturing line helps improve the efficiency because then you don't have
Maybe.
to pay for the transport cost for the goods. Because then if you bring the wool in, then it can be spun into cloth, then the cloth can be turned into, XYZ, and then so on and so forth.
It's it's possible, but I wouldn't put into I wouldn't I doubt that there is that there's going to be any way of like tracking how difficult it is to get goods from the market capital to a different part of it. Like I don't I think that it's all going to be just simulated as being inside the market, you know?
Yeah, one big pot.
So like
Yeah.
the difficulty comes from if you're playing is as the English, you conquer Ireland and you're trying to make a city in Dublin to make a center of loyalty and urbanization and try to get a control over the region. Your problem then is the fact that it's in a different center of trade than London is. So the goods that you have access to there are different and yeah. But what I'm trying to find right now is the Gemalt. Yes, we discussed the like beeswax as a new resource, for example. I'm trying to find cities. I'm trying to find where they first showed the city because they haven't showed us many times where cities are, but there was an image we saw early on. It wasn't Believable World. Maybe I clicked on this already. Yeah, I did. I markets and trade. I want to find the cities because they showed us a map at some point of like where cities are. Like it's like cities and towns, and it's like I don't remember, for example, if like London is considered a city. And like now that we've got this, it's a pretty important topic. Was it in a dev comment? Like I it can't have been. Because that's just, yeah, building based countries. I don't know. I really wanted to find that image because I know I'd found an image at some point that showed just where all the cities were at like a point in time during the development. But I don't know where that would be because it was early. Yeah, oh, please, come on. Well, no way it was 31. Peace system? Nah. It was early. Oh, it was in the comment? Oh, it must be that it was earlier on at some point in a dev comment, and then there was another dev comment. Blue is town, green is city. Okay. Thank goodness. Saving this shit. So, green is cities. There's some big cities around the place, actually. But yeah, soft cap with the added information we now have, soft cap of 50? I think it was 50. Let's go back. Oh, here. Every town is 25, a city is 100. They don't say anything about settlements. I don't know. I don't know how like building anything in a given like settlement is. I guess settlements have access to different buildings, so yeah. But this here, there's only one. That is really weird. Bohemia just has Prague, and there's no towns in Moravia at all. This is so strange. Huh. But I like the little scattering of towns in Ireland as well. But anyway, this is curious because in a map like this, for example, you will want to use a map like this. And I think that the best examples of like that like when you look at Europe, like when are you considering this sort of thing? Is Norway, I think, is going to be a great example of a country. They did show us like first gameplay of like well they didn't show us gameplay, but like first years playing as Norway. What are you considering? I think Norway is going to be a great country for learning the game from a decent starting point, and I think that playing as the English and expanding over Britain is going to be a great example of what it's going to be like if you start from a position of strength and are starting to expand that power base. Because, as they were talking about, yes, you need to specialize cities to a degree because you only have so much space to use. So, as England, you have the question of you've got all these town locations nearby London. So you want to look at presumably what is all in the London market so that you can have a better control over it. And then you would prioritize from there, picking towns around this region that you want to specialize into producing something you need to help the London market. And then from there, while you're doing that, at the same time, you're also wanting to build things in the further reaches of your country that will expand your market control so that you can try and yoink more parts of the Isles into the London market. Hmm. Please recap the entire stream. Of course, yes. Towns and cities are not dynamic like Mayo and Texas. Every province has an urban center. EU5. Hard differentiate like imperative. What? Well, what? Yeah, because there is a system. I don't remember how Mayo and Taxes does cities because it's been a very long time since I've touched it for anything other than looking at the map and be like, look at how crazy that map is. But yes, I believe that if you're referring to like Imperator, yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to choose a spot and say this is going to be a town, and you give it town or city rights, quote unquote. Uh, and that gives you access to different buildings. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that my pogging is appreciated. I hope that your days get better. But continuing along from yeah, so what? Summarizing, we've talked about the fact that they've split up some goods. They merged some of the trade goods into each other. They but the biggest thing they've changed is that they have split up spices. The main thing that if you are showing up now, they have split up spices into Europe has saffron, Asia has pepper, and the New World has chili. Yes. So there will be different sorts of spices that everyone around the world will start to need to nom nom on once they discover. Uh, Added a mechanic. So thirdly, they've added a mechanic to the previous game, which added benefits to having raw materials produced locally. Oh, well, okay. Apparently, Vector was right.
I actually forgot that they directly addressed this.
You did a little speculating on your own this time. Um, wow. And here I was thinking, I don't think that's in the scope of EU5. They wouldn't do that. Like giving you a bonus to like producing stuff in the same region as the goods are coming from. Nah. But then,
Johan looked at Vic 3 and saw, you know what, I'll do it myself.
This is insane. I okay, people talking about me pogging at stuff in the chat. What the fuck? Why does Victoria 3 exist? This game is just better Victoria 3. This game does everything that Victoria does, but better. There is no reason for that game to exist. There will be mods. There will be a mod within a week, because it has the same map and everything. Within a week of EU4 coming out, there will be a mod for the Victoria time, and everyone that plays Victoria now will just play that instead. What the fuck? For specialization, every level of a building adds a 1% production efficiency. They even say it. They're representing economies of scale. If you have a town with a level 8 brewery, you produce 8% more beer than having 8 towns with one level 1 brewery in each. They can't get away with making a game this good on launch. That's not allowed. Dude, it gets more Vicky. I ain't even ready. No way. Okay, yes. With beer as an example, yeah, because this isn't the age of like mass-produced beer. So, like, I mean,
It's only fine crafted artisanal beer for the medieval peasant. By which we mean it was produced by monks.
yeah. Hey, it's all about the optics, mate. All about the optics. Hmm. So yeah, and then thirdly, they added, if you have access to the input goods in the same province it's the building is in, you get a 10% production efficiency to the building. So province, not location, province. What is it? What does it call? How does it work? Let's go to like, what's the most recent feedback? Arabia feedback. That'll be like, because I always forget how they split these up. So you got locations, provinces. So provinces are like the collection of locations, which I wanted. There was a point I wanted to. Frank, hello, Frank. This is the most just, dude, there is no reason for Victoria to exist anymore, Frank. This is a crazy dev diary. They have economies of scale, but like all of it's done better. It's crazy. They oh, there's just no reason to play that game now. But there's so it's impossible to like make a consistent prediction of like how many locations are in a given province because there can be anything from like 3 to 10 locations in a province. But the point is, if you produce a good in a province and then you use it, so if you've got like, okay, Arabia feedback, this is probably not gonna be the best because the goods produced here are gonna be weird. Okay. So if you're producing, is there clay here somewhere? There's clay in the south, for example. Is there clay anywhere that's like more out of the way? I don't know. Okay, so you've got copper in the east here, and you're using copper for I don't fucking know what you're using it for guns. You need to make cannons. Yeah, making cannons. Put on your boats. Early doors. So you've got copper in the southeast of Oman, and you don't really have any other copper elsewhere in the region. Yeah, that is like the one source of copper. No, there's one other one in Hijaz, but point is, there's very few places that you've got access to copper in. So if you then were to, let's open that up. So you then go to the province map mode. provinces, and you see anywhere in however you say that, there's this little snaky province that goes along the coast here. Anywhere in that zone, if you build a town, you could turn that town into a very effective cannon producing place. You'll get 10% efficiency on making the goods, or making the cannons. Presuming that you also have access to whatever other goods you need there as well. So I don't know. Just make EU5 go all the way to 1936, so Hearts of Iron can pick up on it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Playing tall is actually going to be very in depth, and like you can, dude. Okay. Let's get back on focus. Frank, they just explained how there is going to be this system for. There's a soft cap on buildings. So whenever you're making buildings to produce something or defend a settlement or anything, there is a town, because like rural locations, towns and cities, they've got different. They're split into two different types of buildings you can make. So a town can have 25 levels of buildings, and every level of development in the province adds another building cap. Buildings get 10% more expensive the more over the cap you get, and then cities get 100 building levels. So, and then on top of that, every tier of a building you build in a given location gives you an extra percent efficiency. So if you build a city in like Flanders, like London is going to be London is a city, and London also has access to the wool because there's lots of wool made in Lower England. So you've got lots of wool there. You build the city in London because you already got the city there. You then make it into a textile manufacturing hub from all the wool, and you will get a 10% more efficient production on it because you're already getting the wool from the same province. And then you keep building it higher. You build tons of levels of it because every extra level of the building makes it more efficient. And then you make very, very efficiently priced textiles, clothes and such that you can sell at a better price than other people.
And British fashion shall dominate the world.
You must ruin the economy of Flanders, because currently Flanders makes all their money from buying your wool, making it into clothes, and then selling it back to you. Well, you'll show them in a second. Playing an OPM city, playing like a free city. Where was the? Here's the city that this is the This is the map mode they showed us all like half a year ago of where
Blues are towns, greens are cities. So
greens are cities, blues are towns. This was a year ago what we'd seen of like the layout of cities. So you've got Prague as a city, London's a city. There's a town just next to London proper. Paris by itself, the big old blob city, and then of course like northern Italy is just coated in cities and towns. So. No more needing to blob as Ulm. Where is Ulm?
A handful in Germany, some in Spain.
Yeah, you've got some good
Italy
cities.
is a crazy concentration of cities.
There's even look how many cities are in North Africa.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least, and I wouldn't be shocked if there was a few more in Morocco.
There's got to be a few in Morocco. Morocco's the pop hub of North Africa, ain't it? It's bigger than Tunisia.
I believe so. It probably is.
But no, it's in Germany. Yeah, Germany is covered in towns, but it is smaller on the sake of cities. Yes, but one very important city. I do assume Frankfurt is going to be one, but I can't make it out in all this nonsense. There's mines, but I don't know.
Frankfurt is on the western half, I believe. That looks like a green.
Somewhere.
It should be around next to Trier. One of those
I
two.
believe it's I'm pretty sure it's a town currently on this map, but I wouldn't be surprised if it grows into a city over the course of the game.
I know it's in that general area.
Yeah, I believe it's the blue that's directly northeast of the upper of the two by Trier. And then, of course, in the east, there's only
Yeah.
Moscow, Novgorod, Riga, and Vilnius.
Yes.
So sad.
Not even Kiev is.
Kiev got
It's been
fucking
destroyed too many times. It
burned.
got Mongol.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiev got moved into the ground.
I'm just happy
By
it's in the
Mongols.
town category, man. I'll take what I can get. But Genoa has a city and 2 towns in their Black Sea colonies. Tartaria, Chad. I think I think what would be one of, if not the best, for country for like trying to play a super tall OPM would be Lubeck, because Lubeck is the Hanseatic League
Head
and
of
all
the
that.
Hanseatic League.
Yeah. And we don't know how the Hanseatic League all works yet, but it's a building-based country, so I'll be very curious how that works. But Moldavia has a horrible development. It still has 4-3. Okay. They keep changing how Moldavia works, so I wouldn't take this as gospel. This is all
Yeah,
a long
like in
time
the
ago as
latest
well.
rework, it's split up into like 4 or 5 different principalities, I think, tributary to the Golden Horde.
And I highly doubt that in the end, I highly doubt that on release we're going to look at this map and it's going to still be Georgia with a single city and no towns, and Bohemia likewise. That would be a little odd, but
Yeah, like I'd expect there to be at least 1 town in Moravia.
rip Scandi though. Scandinavia got no cities.
Yeah.
Right. But continuing on, we've halved the base amount levels of an RGO you can have in a location, which were tied heavily to population and development, and then gave rural locations a 100% boost to RGO levels. This naturally makes the choice of where you build your towns and cities more interesting. Ooh.
You can't farm in the city on a city street
as you urbanize.
Yes, I had you may remember originally they had talked about it being it was originally very tied to population and development, and that while still you would need population to work the RGO. I don't think that the level should be strictly tied to it, because that leaves an odd situation where we discussed the fact that you would want to turn like anytime you've got like a gold mine, for example, there's a good chance you'd want to turn that into a city, because it being a city would mean you can produce more. You can produce more metal. Which, no, that's not how that works. If you build a city on top of a place with good natural resources, you're not going to be extracting them, because, fun fact, London doesn't have an extensive mining operation going on underneath it.
That's what they want you to think.
The lizard people want you to think that there's nothing there.
If you told me that about Paris, I believe you. I believe that there was one. Yeah, exactly. I believe so. If someone told me there's extensive mining underneath Paris. But Mount Produced, they're talking about beer here. Wheat breweries, level 3 brewery. So it's a specific type of brewery, I guess. Level 3. Access to input goods ×1. Market access. Market access does impact it. This is,
by the looks of it.
This is too good. This is too good. No way. No way.
Yeah, so things that are technically in your market, but you've only got like a 0.05 access. Technically speaking, they're in there, but it's not going to be producing jack shit efficiently. So, need to bump up that control and the infrastructure so that your trade actually flows efficiently.
I am so annoyed that I'm behind on making that video about how EU5 counters blobbing, because goddamn, I need to make one talking about how EU5 fucking takes out the babushka's wooden ladle and spanks Victoria 3. I highly doubt Victoria 3 is even going to be on parity at a parity level of EU5 when this game is released. Even with all the development it's going to get until then. Yikes. This level 3 brewery in Cambridge has access to what is nearby, but not enough lumber and tools. The lack of market access throughput impacts throughput a little bit as well. So the burger satisfaction is also a problem. The literacy of laborers helps. Again, more of this up and down. There's a lot of. Oh, minting's next. Oh God. You have to weigh the up and down.
This is actually really fun. I really like what they've done with minting here.
All right. I'll zip along to it. Minting. We reworked the minting and inflation mechanics to be more tied to the production of precious metals. Okay. In Project Caesar, we have 2 precious metals in gold and silver. But a mod could have as many or as few as they want. There are 3 different impacts from these precious metals on minting, though. And they mention mods. I'm so happy. Because, I mean, throwing Electrum in there instantly, dude. I mean, everyone loves some good old-fashioned alloy gold silver,
or mithril or adamantite, or
platinum coins,
classical fantasy metals.
Yeah, need your platinum coins. Platinum coins sounds so stupid.
Electrum coins have a precedent in history, though, so
yes.
Definitely could do those.
Yes, love that. Alright, so first of all, the amount of gold and silver that you produce has an impact on the income you get from minting new coins. So the more actual metals used for coins instead of lost in transactions. So, what? The more you produce, the more money you make from minting, because otherwise the money is just going to be getting lost. What? I don't quite understand that, but the point that's making. But secondly, the production of gold and silver as a percentage of your total goods produced in your country will increase inflation. So similarly to how EU4 does it, you compare the amount that you're producing precious metals to the rest of your GDP. Except in EU4, it's your total income. Here, this is tied to specifically the production of precious metals compared to production of other things. Finally, minting requires access to gold and silver, and if a country can't get it from their market, then they can't produce more money.
So that whole bullion shortage that Europe had going on in the early Middle Ages is actually a big problem because they can only mint so much.
What does that do to you if you can't mint more coins then?
You only get money, I guess, by trading goods and getting other people's money.
Yeah. You literally cannot mint coinage.
Yeah, the only money you can get is money that already exists, not new money.
Makes sense. No, the icon in the impact of minting, it's a hammer and then a coin with the PDX logo on it. Oh, that's cute. Minting new coins gives us 12. 8% of the 106 tax base.
And that 8%, I think, is determined by the. It looks like the gold and the silver produced adds up to about 8%.
Yeah. You're right, and they did just say they did just say that it's yeah, it bases it off of how it compares to the rest of your economy. So
Yeah, and this is before paper money, so
8% of
you
the
have to have
goods,
metal.
8% of the goods that your country is producing is precious metals, and um, current minting 25%. I'm not sure what that means. But the ban on export is something we've seen before, because just last Friday we saw the ban on export law, which is you're not exporting precious metals. You're using all of your precious metals yourself for either jewelry, minting, all that sort of thing. So current minting meaning you're using 25% of the gold and silver for minting as opposed to other things. Inflation changes each month by 0.07 due to minting threshold is 5%. And then gold and silver. So the minting threshold being 5% means that because right now it's 8% of the tax base. There's 8% of the stuff 8% of the tax base. If it was 5%, then you wouldn't get any inflation. So if you lower the minting level to the point where it becomes only only 5%, then you would not be getting any inflation, I think. This base value for every country. Adds the following demands to the market. So yeah, the more you mint, the more it increases the demand of gold and silver, of course. Hungary has a fair. Oh, is this Hungary? That would make sense. Hungary has a fair amount of gold. Yeah, it's pass. Yeah. Hungary has a fair amount of gold and silver produced, so they can benefit nicely from it. Banning the exports of gold and silver in the precious metal distribution law has some nice benefits to income from minting, even if there are drawbacks. Population changes. One thing we noticed through testing was how the entire raw materials economy could basically ignore deaths. What? As long as you had enough peasants around. Because living peasants would just instantly fill the vacancies created by deaths. And we decided to change that by splitting peasants into 3 different pops. No. Oh! I didn't clue into laborers earlier. Holy shit. That's
Yeah,
crazy!
yeah, it gets even more Victoria.
Yeah.
There's so many different types of pops now then. I can't believe that's what Hot Pocket meant.
The game's getting more and more complex.
Yeah, we really are just recreating Vicky. We can rebuild it. We have the technology. It's recreating Victoria, but
Budget given to him.
no, the CPU. Too bad. Too bad. Okay. So the 3 different pops: laborers, soldiers, and peasants. Yeah. Laborers and soldiers are still lower class still lower class pops and belong to the same estate, but they need to be promoted from peasants to fill the vacancies in RGOs and buildings. This is something that's come up in conversation in the Discord a few times now, where folks, so we've talked about the fact that um, it feels kind of weird that burgers are just all laborers. It's like it's like there's the dudes who farm and mine, and then there's everyone else. It's just a burger, which didn't quite feel accurate. But that now there's the difference between laborers and burgers, yeah, and then peasants are the farmers specifically. Johan has said most of the performance issues have been AI related, so they don't know yet what the impact of further splitting pops is. Oh boy. Oh boy. We'll have to see then. peasants now represent the common people, and yeah, I doubt that splitting up the pops is going to affect performance too much because it would be a number of people in the game that would cause performance issues, not like what it categorizes them as, I imagine. So, peasants now represent the common people over whom we rule, most of whom live on subsistence farms or in your villages. Laborers represent the people who work manual labor in towns, cities, or rural locations. They work the land to create, harvest, and gather the raw materials that are the backbone of the country, or work as unskilled labor in mills. So those are farmers too? So peasants are just people that don't have jobs? What? So subsistence farming. Okay, that's the difference. Yeah. Laborers are tenant farmers. That's the difference. Laborers are tenant farmers, peasants are subsistence farmers. Jesus. It really fucking is Victoria. Said it before, I'll say it again that this will be Baldur's Gate 3 for strategy games. This will come to Steam and everyone will use EU5 to dunk on future games. Yeah, I think so too, dude. Watch the next Total War game get dunked on for not having a simulated economy. They already get dunked on for not having a simulated economy. Have you ever seen how nastily people treat Warhammer 3 because of the fact that it has a quote-unquote population system right after the Three Kingdoms game had its incredibly thought out economy system?
Growth, generic growth, size 5.
Size 5 growth. Meanwhile, you have Three Kingdoms. It's like actually numbers of people and different things affect the population numbers. Soldiers represent the common people that provide the manpower for our armies and garrisons, as well as sailors for navies. And we have a demographics sheet here. Oh boy. 1% are nobles, 1% are clerics.
Less than 1%.
1%.
1% is greater than the number. You're right. Yeah. So, less than 1% are nobles, less than 1% are clerics, 4.9% are burghers, 3.6% are laborers, soldiers are 1.3%, and 88% are peasants.
Do you know where this is? Do you know where this is, Joffrey?
Genoa. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Genoa has 88% peasants still. That's crazy. Whew. And you've got the less than 1% slaves because you've got the galley slaves. If I cannot get rich from selling spices to call friends, I'm not buying Warhammer 4. Still don't have Civil Deaths and Hearts of Iron 4 yet, and EU5 will have it at launch. Yeah. Oh dear. Get ready, Gamalt, for the Hearts of Iron start date mod. Yep, the World War II start date. You'll definitely have World War I mods, I'm sure. Just Victoria timeline mods in general. But yeah, Genoa's a rather diverse group of people. Promotion has been reworked as well, where not all types of pops promote as quickly. Pop promoting to clergy and nobles promote at 10% of the promotion speed, while pops promoting to burghers promote at 50% of the speed. Becoming laborers, though, promote at 150% of the speed. This is great to know as well because I mentioned that in the mod we're planning to make, there is going to be a country at game start that would normally be a notable power. However, they have the distinctive issue of having a 0% noble population. So the fact that their nobility is basically entirely non-existent is going to be a major issue for them early game, and once to find out more about how that is an issue for people, I'll be able to better figure out how to make that a challenge for them. And it being something that's very slow to promote into will help. Yes. Virgin CK2 with its 0 resources versus the Chad EU5 that is required to play for you to get a job in economics. Okay, okay. Uh, uh, we do not require nobles. The laborers and burghers shall rule people of republic. God, I didn't even think about that vector. Oh no. The popular revolution because you have basically no nobles.
I
No.
mean, that's what would happen if the nobles, in the sense of the political leadership, are all gone. Then the next most powerful group will step in to fill the void.
Someone's gonna stop them. Someone's gonna stop the nobles from being replaced with burgers. If Tukwa becomes a republic, it's Jover.
We now need to add that as a possible path that they can end up going down.
It's her husband is coming in to restore order as the burgers take over and establish a republic. No. Or maybe the clergy does, who knows? Oh god. But monthly
These
promotion.
French holy theocratic state that's
Yeah.
imperial cult, that's just all things cursed.
Exactly the point.
Yeah, we need a whole bunch of these different things. Holy theocratic crusader state imperial order shit
Hey,
versus Burger's French Republic of wine and shit.
the only reason that they're not the elector for their part of the Concord is because they're not a theocracy actually. So, maybe there's some cooking there. Germany signs into law, and law EU5 will be used on all colleges to teach about supply chains. Okay. Oh, okay. Next month, the following promotions will have so plus 5 nobles. See, no, God, like Genoa, Genoa is just two nobles. God, base value for every location. A university in Naples was helping a lot. Okay, and then literacy of peasants helps. Locations, city location rank. Okay, okay. Literacy of peasants makes it better, so that means I need to make this country have a terrible literacy rate for peasants. Good to know. Good to know. Positive stability helps as well. Okay, and the rank of the location helps. Plenty of opportunities is likely a scaling modifier for there is approximately 0 burgers, so the peasants will move in. Laborers are much easier to train, of course, yes. Ooh, we changed how pop demands work. All right. And they made the demand scale by development of a location. So pops in more advanced parts of the world will now demand far more goods. Oh dear. And this creates a constant growth. We also changed a bit how the economy works for pops and estates. And pops are now no longer getting their goods entirely for free, but instead the estates will now pay for the goods that the pops need, with the money they have left after taxes. The amount that they spend per pop scales by control of the location, so it is balanced compared to the income they get. And this severely limits the snowball effect of having rich estates invest in making themselves and the country richer. Okay, okay. So the less control pops that you have in a location means that the less money the estate needs to spend on goods because to spend for the goods in the location because obviously the people are still just spending money. They're still just spending money. It's just not represented in the economy of the nation because it's abstracted outside of it. That's actually really good. And then also the fact that it increases with the more control you have to represent that you're keeping tabs on the economy of the area more
Yeah, you
stops.
can charge the proper taxes and levies essentially,
Yeah.
so that you get your cut.
And then it, as they're saying, stops the snowball effect of you get lots of control in an area and now the estates are filthy rich and they're gonna just build shit everywhere. Yeah. And help the country and them.
But yeah, it's a real neat thing seeing there. We can see what the nobility is spending all their money on, and it's all on freaking fancy clothes
And salt and sugar
and saffron.
and saffron. Uh,
They want those
yeah.
more than they want silver.
Yeah. So silver's up there still, but yeah, it takes a huge drop after silver to beer, which is curious that the nobility wants beer more than they want liquor. Or maybe, well, it's in Naples, so maybe beer is more expensive.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. Wine, I think, is more common, so it's probably cheaper.
Wine is cheaper than liquor. The nobles don't really want liquor anyway. They want things like wine. The fact that they're spending that much on beer is a little confusing to me, but I'm gonna assume it's because wine is cheaper than beer. As you're saying, I assume it's because wine is cheaper than beer in Naples because it's in Italy, and as a result, they don't have to spend as much to meet their demands. Meanwhile, beer is not produced as much. Hope salt consumption gets increased if you lose a war. Yeah, if you lose a war, all of the soldier pops in your country, the soldier and noble pops in your country suddenly get a huge demand increase for salt for the duration of the truce.
There's not an increase in demand, the production spikes.
Productions. You're right. How could I be so foolish? The pops start just producing more salt. Yes. Uh, Another problem that was identified through testing was that based on the distribution of income and location on the political power. Ba- what? Basing the distribution of income and location on the political power of the estates was that in almost all cases the commoners got nothing and the nobles got everything. Well, obviously. Which means that you never wanted to tax your commoners, but wanted to squeeze everything out of the nobles. While being an admirable goal, it does not reflect historical reality as much. So how do we solve this? Well before we added the Cossacks, tribes, and Dhimmi estates from feedback, that there was a one-to-one direct connection between a specific pop type and what estate they belonged to. So the estate could get exactly the amount of money their pops were generating. And since we did not want to do something performance crippling like splitting pops into one per building, we went with pooling all income in a location and distributing it by political power. Okay, yeah. Now, though, that has changed, and we instead distribute it per a fixed fraction per pop in the estate. So, commoners and burghers get money you want to tax from their work. They distribute it per a fixed fraction per pop. So, it is based on the percentage of pops. Hmm. Tax base in Naples. So yeah, the tax base share. So the nobles and the commoners have the greatest percentages. Yeah. Huh. 1337 is a bit early to embrace the Reformation, so I can tax the clergy, but we could build up the city more so burghers are more taxable. Yeah, okay. So the city of Naples isn't built up enough yet that the burghers are being really taxed. There's just not enough power that they have. and it's still just like commoners. You know, you're still just taxing your laborers and peasants. Yeah. Hmm. All right. And then next week, we'll go into changes that have been done to politics, proximity, and societal values. Okay. I listen, I wasn't all that excited when I heard that this week it was going to be a feedback discussion because oh, it's stuff we've already heard about. But no, this is crazy the amount of things that they've changed. So if they're doing if they've done a bunch of changes due to feedback to politics, proximity, and societal values, those are all things that I'm very curious about. Politics, though I'm a little confused on what it means. I mean, diplomacy is internal politics.
There are two types, internal and external, and it doesn't specify.
I guess. Mm. But regardless of that, proximity is something I am very curious about because, of course, it is the thing that is used for control, market access, all sorts of goodness like that. And societal values is a core function of how you decide the direction of your country and the bonuses and malices you'll be receiving, which is a fantastic concept that I'm very excited to learn more about. How they've changed. We know how they work, but what they've changed to it. I'm not sure what sort of feedback they would have gotten that would change it. Maybe it's balance wise primarily because maybe there's something like the defense meta is too good. You need to change it now. This might not be too exciting. Time to put EU5 gamer into my curriculum. Indeed. Will I name my firstborn son Joffrey the Executioner? Well, it would be Joffrey the Judge.
Then jury, then executioner.
Was like the Joffrey the I had what did Goat call me? He called me something the Accuser because I'm Joffrey the Pardoner, and it was like I don't know. I forget it was I forget what the name was, but it was some play on the name Joffrey, and then it was the Accuser because it's the opposite of pardoning, I guess. Joffrey the Convictor. But Judge does work. In any case, though, I believe that does us for this one. I think we can wrap up.
Indeed, that is all for that.
So, I guess we're done. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye bye bye. I'm gonna make myself dizzy again.